back to my studio. This is Emma, and I'm sure you can see by the amount of light in the studio that it's a bright and sunny morning, but I'm happy to report that I'm having to wear a sweatshirt today, a hoodie, whatever, because the weather has changed a bit from last time. I was so hot last time, it was unbelievable. For this country to have that level of temperature is quite something. And I feel for anybody in the world who has it even hotter. So anyway, back down to more cool Cumbrian sort of weather today. We've had a nice lot of rain over the last couple of days, which is fantastic, because I was going out and watering the garden with, I kind of put a basin in the sink, and every time I wash my hands in the kitchen, I kind of take that water out and water things with it. I have a bucket in one sink and a bowl in the other, so that every time I rinse something or wash something, I collect the water. And I think that's kept some of my plants going in the garden during the sort of the hot, dry weather that we've had. So happy to be back in my studio with you again. It's a wonderful day. I'm so grateful for all your lovely comments last time. It was such a risk making that piece. It's definitely my new way of working, and I'm really happy that I'm kind of getting there with it. Who knows what the future holds? We never know, do we? It's like life. So I will see how that process is going to take me. But today, what I'd like to do is some sketchbook stuff, because I know a lot of you really like it when I do sketchbooky things, and you will get very excited and go, ooh, we want to do that. I mean, how simple some of these things are. This is me just, oh, sorry, that's a blank page. This is me just messing about with some pages, okay? This is really, really playtime. And anything goes, any colour goes, any shape goes, you know, I just love it. And it's not about making something, it's about playing again, and possibly you might spark some ideas through doing it, but the most important thing is playtime, which gets your creative juices flowing. And it's a really useful thing to do when you can't think of what to do, as a process in itself, or it's a way of going back to them when you've got no idea what you'd like to do, what inspiration you'd like to work from, and you might just look through one of your sketchbooks. I call them, that's the other thing, is I call them a sketchbook, but you might look through one of them and just find something that makes you go, oh, that's what I want to do today. You know, those colours, those shapes, or whatever. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. As I say, it's a great way of, when you're stuck or when you just want to do some fun things, just play with your sketchbook. I call it a sketchbook. You could call it a journal, you could just call it a book, you could just, don't even have to be a book, you could just work on big sheets of paper or small sheets of paper. You know, it's whatever floats your boat. I'm going to do it the way I like to do it, because I've got a purpose. I've got myself a lovely little new sketchbook out of my cupboard. It's brand new and just waiting to be messed around in, because that's going to be my summer holiday one this year, because my other one's kind of full and we're going to different places now, and I thought, well, I'm going to start a new sketchbook, and I thought, well, I'll take you along the journey, because it's always nice to watch somebody messing about with paint and paper and stuff, isn't it, you know? So thank you for being here. As I say, thank you for all your comments. Just do say hello. Tell me where you are in the world. It is wonderful to connect with you. It just, you know, when I look at my computer on a Thursday morning or later in the week, whenever it is you get around to watching the video, it's absolutely wonderful, because I get these connections with people from all around the world, and it's a joy. And it's not about the numbers, but I'm very grateful because people are subscribing. I've got quite a lot of subscribers now, which means we can spread the word more. So if you enjoy the video, just, you know, give it a thumbs up, because I think that helps with the algorithm or whatever it is. As I say, I'm not about numbers. I'm about simply coming down here and having the pleasure of making a video, showing it to you, and I just love the whole process. So thank you for being here. And now, I think without further ado, I'm going to get out my paints and papers, and we're just going to see what we're going to be doing with this next bit of fun. Ooh, so here's a little small selection of some of my sketchbooks that I've got in my shelving unit over there. I'm not going to show you lots because it'll fry your brain, but I have to say I am so excited to be doing this with you. Honestly, it's just making me feel all bubbly inside, because I haven't done a sketchbook for absolutely yonks, and because I'm going on holiday, I just thought, right, I'm going to have a new one for this year, because we're going to a different place. I choose a small one. Okay, so this is a pink pig. I'm not advertising these, but this is what I tend to use because they've got a lovely ring binder on them. And this is a nice size. I think this is the 4 by 4 inches one. Sometimes I use the 8 by 8. I do like a square one. There's something about a square one that just is very satisfying. And obviously when you get it, this is what it looks like. Ooh, it's full of potential, but it's also really scary because it's blank pages. Now, sometimes I do just draw, I do sketching onto pages like this. Sometimes I do, and I'm sure you do too. But it's so much more fun when you kind of pimp it up a bit, you know? So, I've got one here. I've done a nice printed cover on the front with some paper, lots of painted newspaper. Ooh, it says, here we are, here's some nice questions for you. What are my maker's dreams? What energy do I want to put into my artistic life as an artist and a maker? What are my dreams as an artist? How interesting is that? I wonder when I wrote that. And I got that from, I will give you the quote here. It's from ourmakerlife.org blog. And I don't know when it was, but that's where I got these questions from. And what is my truth as a maker? Isn't that interesting? What is my work about and for? That's really interesting to see that. So this is basically, I've prepared some pages with some paint and print, and then I've just been out and about. I know where I've done these. These are done down at my mum-in-law's. She lives down in top end of London, and when we go on holiday, I often go and sit in her garden, or there's a local garden, and I've just been tinkering. But I do find, you see, drawing things like this is so much more interesting on a page where you've already put some splodges on than just doing it straight onto that. This is what it's all about. It's making life more exciting and interesting. So they're not very fantastic drawings. They're just really little writings, and just little moments in my life. And just the act of drawing I find to be extremely relaxing, and I highly recommend it. And I've obviously got a lot of pages. See, we can see a blank set of pages here, ready to be drawn into. It's got a drawing half started there. I find the whole act of making a sketchbook and drawing it is kind of like a ritual for me. I love having a book like this to draw into. So let's just move that lot out of the way, and I'm just going to show you this one. This is my holiday book from going to the Scottish Islands, to the Outer Hebrides or the Inner Hebrides, depending on where we were going, which is one of my favourite places to go on holiday. And it's just a collection of things, drawings, printings, labels. I called it Over Land and Sea, which is it's a quote from a Runrig song. I'm sure those of you who know Runrig will know that one. And it's, oh, I can feel it. I'm on the ferry heading out to the islands, and it's just beautiful. So in here I've got things that I've stitched into the pages. I do little drawings. This is some hand stitching I do when I'm on holiday. Sometimes I just take some fabrics and I do some hand stitching, and it's just really simple things. I take a bag of little scraps and just make things. And then you see you get some drawing, a little bit of something or other here. I've layered this page up. See, look, this has got some watercolour paper, which I just love because it makes a lovely overlay. It's got some scrimmy sort of stuff. This is builder's scrim, would you believe? And it's got a guidebook, a bit of a, you know, one of the leaflets you get when you go on holidays. So I've just put that down as the background. Again, it's got some overlay, so it knocks it back. But it's building up a feeling. What I'm doing here is building up a feeling of when I've been on holiday. And it's such a lovely thing to have. It really is. It's a joy to look at this. And I'm back there. And I think when you're drawing, again, if you're on holiday, if you're taking a photograph is wonderful. And believe me, I have taken many photographs over the years. But I do find drawing and sketching, even if you think it's rubbish, even if you think it's no good at all, even if you're just, you know, making marks and scribbling, that's all you need to do, because that really helps you engage with what you're seeing. It's like this physical act of making marks on paper, and it takes you right into the landscape that you're wanting to work with later on, perhaps. And even if you're not going to work with these later on, they are just nice mementos to have of your holidays. So I'm not going to show you all of this because, you know, I could show you every single page, and every single page is like a work of art in itself, some of them anyway. So that's a blank page waiting for something. This is one where I've come home and I've just taken my scraps of paper and I've just stuck things in and it's got, you know, I don't know, it's just got a feeling of it. It'll be the papers that I've used perhaps when I was printing the book up, you know. So that's very tantalising, I know, just to show you that much, but I don't want to fry your brain, and I also don't want you to do what I do. I think there's a danger when you look at other people's work, you want it to be like theirs, and I've spent many years realising that my work is mine and what I do is individual to me, it's authentic to me, and it's going to come out the way I want to do it. If you try and copy other people or do it their way, it's not you. And it's okay to be inspired, you know. I mean, the video I did earlier in the year where I was inspired by somebody else's work, that's absolutely fine. Whatever floats your boat, whatever gets you going, however you do it, you know, if you're inspired by this, take away the ideas of what I've done rather than, you know, of how I've done it rather than what I've done. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So again, this page has got lots of little scraps of fabric stuck on it. This is some waxed paper that I had lying around. I keep a box, which I'll probably try and show you, with all my bits of paper and stuff in. In fact, one of the very early videos I did on YouTube 3 years ago was showing you my box of papers that I keep. It's wonderful because it's a great excuse not to throw anything out. So, as I say, it's about you, it's about what you do, what floats your boat, what makes you excited, how you want to create. But it's a lovely thing to do. So shall I show you this one? I'll show you this one just briefly. It's not got a lot of things in it. It's got a lot of pages that I've obviously done things on. And what I've chosen to do, actually stitch some samples in. So I've got little odd samples of things which I've just stuck in. So it's kind of a sample book rather than a drawing book. It's a little sample book that I've got here. You see, like that. And now that's quite nice. It's quite nice just to come back to. I often look through these just because they're fun to look at, you know, and I think, oh, I love doing that. This is the newspaper that I've painted onto, and you get all these random splodgy things, and then if you stick them in a book like this, you can then do more marks and drawing on top. You can add bits of fabric, you can add some stitch. It's just so much fun. So I think that's enough of that. I'm going to show you kind of what I use. I'm going to get myself set up and we're just going to get started, because really that's what you want, isn't it? You want to just get in there with your hands and get starting being messy. Okay, so I'm going to show you first of all, these are my acrylic paints. Now, I appreciate acrylic perhaps isn't the greatest thing to be using at this time on the planet, but it is what I've got in, and I'm going to use them up. Unless and until something better comes along that's a bit more organic, I'm just going to use them up, because otherwise I think it's a waste, and they're awfully useful to utilise for this kind of game. So I'm just thinking about what colours I'm going to be working with. I know I'm going on holiday to the countryside, so I'm thinking, well, I don't want to work in the bright oranges for this sketchbook. Now, obviously, if you want to do countryside in really, you know, wacky, vibrant colours, that's absolutely fine, because obviously purple could be very much a colour you could use. This could be for sunsets or, you know, stuff like that. But I'm really looking to make backgrounds, and I know I'm not going to Scotland, so I think we'll keep the heather colours kind of tucked away for now. I'm thinking, I think those two are the same. I think we'll want some nice sort of greyish, muted background colours, maybe some grey, some green, a bit of brown. I'm not going to the sea this time, so I'm not doing the blues. I think that's quite a nice colour, and maybe that one. It's a question of, you know, once I get going, it'll become much more obvious what I want to use. And that's a bit silver. I don't think we'll have that one. So, what colour is that? That's kind of bluey green as well. So, that's my colours. That's my main painty colours, I think. So let's put them into here. There we go. So now, what else have I got to show you? Let me see. What else have we got to show you here? Well, so I just thought I'd show you what else I use when I'm doing my sketchbooking, when I'm out and about or when I'm here in my studio. So in this lovely spotty red bag, which cheers me up no end, it's just a lovely bag to keep things in. I have got various things. So here we've got Inktense crayons, water soluble, just a nice little range of colours. These are so well used. I love these to bits, I really do. I've used them a lot when I go out sketching. And in here, this is again, these are water soluble crayons, just like children's, you know, chunky crayons. And you can tell by the state, the state of the box that these are very well used. You know, they're full of little bits and sniblets, and you know, I've used these a lot. And if you've watched any of my videos previous to this, these have featured, as you will know, any of my sketchbooking videos, that is. So in here is just some cheap as chips, nothing exciting, just some oil pastels. And I use these to do sort of a resist, you know, where you're doing like a wax resist. So you can put these down and make marks, and then you can put like a paint on top, a wash of paint on top, and that makes a nice set of marks. This is my little pencil box, which is very sweet. And there's a right ramshackle collection of things in there. I've got some really disgusting coloured rubbers because they're in with a bit of charcoal, you know, a bit random. Just a few pencils, and I've got some more pencils at the back of my desk as well that I like to use. Again, you can use water soluble. You can get water soluble black ones. That's a charcoal pencil, and I've got water soluble. Anyway, yeah, bits and bobs. And this is my little baby little set of watercolours that I like to take on holiday with me. And I just love these because they're so cute and so wee, and this tiny little paintbrush that they've got. So we can be using these as well if we feel the urge, but otherwise I tend to use these when actually I'm on my holidays and put them into the mix when I'm painting things. So, and then I've got just a pot of random brushes, bits and bobs, nothing very exciting, nothing very posh. These are like things from like children's things. I think they're from when my daughter was little, nice big chunky ones, and just random brushes. I'm not, you know, I'm not doing anything posh here. A big old paintbrush can be useful, just, you know, whatever you've got in. There's a little pipette here, so if I want to do, you know, dropping liquidy, watery stuff onto the page. I've got things, I've got all kinds of things. This is just one, I think this is from a ceramics course I did years ago when I was at college. It's just, you know, a useful tool for making marks and things. So that's what's in my lovely red bag. So this is the other thing I've got. It's just a big plastic box, which I've recently upgraded from a cardboard box because I've got more space in it. And it's got all sorts of bits and bobs in here. There's some bubble wrap. There are things that I do printing with. So I've got some bits of perspex taken out of picture frames. I've got the inside of juice box, you know, Tetra Pak type things, because they give you a nice plasticky surface to work on. So you can put paint onto there and then print off those. I've got things like, you know, I've got a dress pattern in here, and it's got lovely paper that you could be using to print on, stick down, scrumple up, nice, or you can make a nice skirt if you'd rather. I've got corrugated cardboard. Anybody who's watched any of my sketchbooking videos knows that I absolutely adore corrugated cardboard because you can tear it into strips and make just the most lovely printed lines and marks with them. What else have we got in here? I've got some, this is just an old diary that I could keep because it's got some nice printed material on it. It's got nice colours. Sometimes, you know, you can do tearing this into strips and adding it onto your page. I've got an old book here. This is a novel that fell in the bath, so I keep this for doing, you know, printed. If I want a little bit of print into the mix, I use that. I've got an old map that I can tear up. Just picked it up in a charity shop. Bits and pieces of paper if you want other kinds of paper. You know, you might have stuff kicking around the place, or maybe you've bought a kit like I did. This was a kit of paper to make a book with, and I've never made the book, but I'm going to use it in my sketchbooking instead. So there's all sorts in here. I won't show you everything. It's mostly, you know, similar sorts of things, and I'll show you some of the things as we go along. So this is my little box of tools, if you like, and it consists of all sorts of bits of junk that I've collected over the years from around the house. You know, packaging, little bits of sponge packaging. This is a nice little one. I don't know what this has had in it, but it's got little holes. I don't know if you can see that. It's got these lovely little holes, and I guess you could paint that and print with it. Bits of plastic lids, which has already got paint on. These are really useful. These are rollers, which I use quite a lot, I have to say, when I'm rollering, if I'm doing printing. But again, you don't have to have any of this gear. If you want to just do messing about on your pages, you don't have to have anything. But I'm sure around your house you will find all sorts of bits and bobs. I've never actually used this, but are you like me? Can you not bear to throw things away because they might just come in handy? I haven't used this yet, but it's ever so nice. I'm sure I could use it for something. And there's a plastic fork here, you know. Also, as I say, all sorts of bits and bobs. There's a syringe. There's all kinds of funny little brushes. I'll kind of show you this as we go along. I'm sure it'll be self-explanatory. And as I say, just collecting bits of junk as you go through your life, as we all do. There's all this packaging and bits and bobs. So let's put that to one side. And now, drum roll, let us get out my little sketchbook. And I'm going to show you the magic trick with this. I know some of you will have seen this on many an occasion if you've watched my previous videos, but for those of you who are new, I will show you what I'm going to do. That's a poem. Okay, so this is my sketchbook. This is the little magic trick. And what you do is you take a pair of scissors and we're just going to snip along here like this. It's nice and easy because it's only a small book, it's quite easy. And you're just snipping in between these two wires here. And then, with a bit of luck, you can just pull the pages out. And this means you can paint them so much easier. Yes, you can use this book obviously as it is, but honestly it is so much easier when you can just pull the pages out. It works an absolute treat. So there you go, top tip. So I think that's probably enough for today. I don't want to overwhelm you. That's quite a big introduction to the subject of doing this. And the main theme is just go around your house, find some bits and bobs that you'd like to do some printing with, because you're welcome to do this as a sort of a go along with me type thing. If you get some pages out, that would work really well. You don't have to have a sketchbook, just get some paper. It doesn't have to be this kind of malarkey. Just get some paper and, you know, find a few bits and bobs around your house, as I say, and take it from there. So I look forward very much to seeing you all next week, when the paint will very much hit the pages. And we'll do lots of sploshing and splashing and making funny things happen. It's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. And thanks again for being here with me. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And have a great week. See you all again soon.